Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Trump Trolls Trump. Yes, it is that time again where somebody with the last name Trump mocks mercilessly, relentlessly, and quite frankly, legitimately, some idiot who also has the last name Trump. Am I giving the game away? No, I am not, because as always, I trust you to decide who is whom in this scenario. It may not seem like it, but it has been 82 years, sorry, days since the Trump regime came into power. And I don't know if you guys can feel this. It's like a vibe. The golden age has finally landed on America's shores, right? I mean, it's incredible, this feeling. I think we should all be saying hallelujah, praise be. Two phrases I have never in my life used before. So perhaps somebody should be mocking me. I just gave something away. Anyway, let's move on and take a look back at week 11. Again, it seems so much longer. First of all, on Wednesday, Donald tried to fix a problem. I mean, problem is probably understating it, but a problem he himself created by calling for a 90-day pause on the tariffs he imposed for all of the countries in the world except China, which is probably ill advised. The morning before the pause, he posted on his failing social media site that it was, quote, a great time to buy, unquote, in a clear signal to insiders that something big was coming. I think that there's a phrase for what that is. There are two phrases that come to mind, actually. One is, yes, insider trading, and another one is market manipulation. Both of those things illegal, or at least they used to be. Even though Donald is now in a direct trade war with one of our biggest trading partners, aforementioned China, he doesn't blame them. Not at all. He blames the quote unquote stupid people. And we're about to find out who he's referring to in this clip from an Oval Office presser just the day, just after the 90-day pause, which he had declared vociferously was fake news just the day before. So Donald asked a question that most of us have been asking all of our lives. Check this out.
No, I don't. I don't. I know it's a lot of people take heat for saying it, but I blame the people sitting at this desk more than I blame China. If China can get away with what they got away with taking hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars right out of our pocket because our people here were stupid, they were stupid people. Maybe corrupt, I don't know. I don't know how you can be that stupid. How do you get to be president and you're stupid?
Oh, indeed. And if anybody would know, it's you, you stupid fucking idiot. You know, the guy sitting in the chair behind the desk. Anyway, before we continue, please hit like, share this video, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We are pushing to get to 400,000 subscribers, and as independent media, your support helps us reach more people and keep this thing going. There's an expression which maybe it's a reach, but I think it might be appropriate in this context. Stupid is as stupid does. I'm sure you've heard it before. It's like right up there with hallelujah and praise be. To say that Donald's wild shifts on trade policy have the markets on edge that might be the understatement of the century or the millennium, but the millennia. Economists are warning that the country is most likely headed into recession. Yeah, I'm pretty sure his antics yesterday aren't going to help with that at all. But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, well, he's not worried because he has a plan. Be afraid, be very afraid when any of these idiots has a plan. But this one seems legitimate to me because the plan, blame Joe Biden. Who? Watch.
Increasingly, people are expecting that we are headed for a recession. I spoke with one CEO over the weekend. He said we are already in a recession. So how do you deal with that as you are trying to implement all of these new policies like deregulation when you've got the market expecting a sharp slowdown in economic activity, sir?
Well, Maria, I think what the CEO may have alluded to, and I've said it in the past, that the manufacturing sector under the previous administration was in a recession.
What? Does he know what the word recession means? He's about to find out. because again, these people don't know anything about trade or the economy or anything. So we've all been in the fuck around phase for a while, and they are all finding out. The problem for them, of course, is that they lie so much that they probably aren't going to see it coming, but we will. Sadly, this crushes me. There seems to be nobody out there willing to defend Donald. So I want to apologize in advance as I introduce this week's take it or leave it moment. In a White House press briefing, the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, told us that what we all know, that this man, this giant of a man, is a genius. And we all know he's right. We must, of course, be speaking about Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Watch the clip.
I do just want to point out one thing, that the president, everybody in Washington, whether they want to admit it or not, knows that this president is right when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to trade.
I am so self-deluded that I actually didn't realize that's what I was doing. All I needed was that little twit to tell me that I've been lying to myself all along. And if only I embraced the genius. Oh, who am I kidding? Can you imagine walking around being that smug and arrogant and completely immune to reality? I don't think that person understands what it says about her, that she could say those things about Donald Trump with a straight face. Again, not everybody agrees with her. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say probably there are two people on the planet who agree with her and Donald. Everyone's favorite backyard chicken person, the Secretary of Agriculture, is back. She's the one who told us, well, yeah, eggs are expensive. Go buy chickens and put them in your backyard. To which I said, awesome. Where do I buy a backyard? Anyway, I live in the city. It's hard. This week, the feud between White House senior counselor on trade, Peter Navarro, which is just a depressing thing to have to say out loud. You may know him by his nom de plume, Ron Vera, and Elon Musk over trade policy only escalated. Remember, Elon said that Navarro was a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks because that's mature. I'm not sure whose side to take on this one, though, because they're both vile and despicable. Well, here comes aforementioned Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins saying this is just an example of the serious. I'm not kidding. This is a thing that happened. This is just an example of the tradition of the presidential decision-making process that goes, I mean, we should have expected this shoe to drop all the way back to Abraham Lincoln, because of course it does. Take a look.
There is a very public spat between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro, and the White House press secretary said boys will be boys, but whose side are you on?
Well, here's what I will say about that. By the way, let me tie it back to Abraham Lincoln and Team of Rivals. Abraham Lincoln created the U.S. Department of Agriculture, right? His spirit is very much alive here. But I think back to his cabinet all those years ago and had a lot of disagreement. But that was the way he made decisions. And President Trump is exactly the same way.
I think somebody needs to adjust her meds because what? I'm sure the strife in the Lincoln cabinet had nothing to do with the Civil War. I don't understand. I actually don't understand anymore how breathtakingly insane and deluded you need to be to believe that, or what a sociopathic, pathological liar you need to be in order to say that with a straight face. So let's move on because I'm freaking out a little bit here. Speaking of backyard chickens, because who doesn't do that frequently? First of all, get your backyard chickens before the prices go up, because the prices of eggs, wow. They went up last month to reach a new record high of $6.23 per dozen, despite Donald's predictions, also known as lies, that there would be a drop in wholesale prices and no egg farms with bird flu outbreaks. Just a quick tip. If you want to keep prices low, don't start an unprovoked unilateral trade war, which is going to force your former trade allies to respond in kind and slap on retaliatory tariffs to your country's products, first of all. Secondly, if you want to get rid of something like the H5N1 bird flu, maybe don't put in charge of Health and Human Services a sociopath who doesn't believe in science. Just a thought. So here's Donald letting us know where we are on the whole egg price thing.
If you look at what's happening, you're going to see this today. I said we're going to try and get groceries down, right? An old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term. Eggs. So when I got in, the press went absolutely crazy the first week. They said, eggs have quadrupled in price. I said, I just got here. Tell me about it. And Brooke Rollins and our team did a great job, and eggs are down now 79%, and they're all over the place.
You mean they're rolling all over the? What do you mean they're all over the place? Like we have eggs everywhere? Maybe. If you like eggs, that would be good. I'm averse to them, so that kind of strikes fear into me. But I'm old-fashioned in that way because I like to say things like groceries. I mean, I know I'm an old soul and everything, but I didn't realize that my use of that archaic term, just sort of made me feel like I actually do live back in the Civil War. But that is not the only reason I feel like that these days. It has perhaps in addition to the use of the word groceries, which I'm hearing is happening more and more frequently, it might also have something to do with the fact that they're basically ripping out parts of the Constitution that existed after 1860. Just a thought. Speaking of all over the place, and again, I still don't know what that means. Attorney General, something else that should strike fear into the hearts of all of us, Pam Bondi, explained that, quote unquote, maybe we should look at the Constitution. See what I was just saying? Yeah, that's a great idea. If by look at, you mean read, highly recommend everybody in the Trump regime read the document that you are trying to rip into shreds. Bondi, in particular, should look at it, especially when talking about the fact that Donald is unconstitutionally planning to run for a third term, or maybe he's just going to steal a third term. Watch this.
There's chatter about President Trump seeking a third term. He has said, quote, there are methods. Is this just one of his epic trolls? Or does he or do you believe there is a method short of amending the Constitution by which he could seek a third term?
President Trump has served one full term. He's on his second full term. He's a very smart man, and I wish we could have him for 20 years as our president, but I think he's going to be finished probably after this term.
Probably.
Well, the Constitution, we'd have to look at the Constitution.
Yeah, because who knows what the Constitution has to say about something as inessential as presidential term limits. I don't know. I mean, it's possible that there's an actual amendment that addresses that issue, but what would I know? Because, I mean, I guess if I were Attorney General of the United States of America, I would have read the Constitution, but I'm just an American citizen, so what the fuck do I care? Yes, there's an amendment, Pam Bondi. Nice hedging of your bets, though, because clearly if you came out and said no third term, that's not allowed, you'd probably be in trouble. All right. So as you are aware, Donald has a thing about energy, mostly wind energy, with which he is bizarrely obsessed. This week, he signed executive orders on several topics. The first we'll talk about is his effort to stifle green energy. Yes, because he doesn't like that kind of energy. By bringing us back to his favorite century, the 1800s, where fossil fuels and coal production were literally all we had. We didn't use fossil fuels and coal in the 1800s because we were idiots. We used them because we didn't have any alternatives. So Donald stood before a group of coal miners this week and let them know in his twisted way that he knows them. He's looked into their eyes. He knows them, and he has their best interests at heart. Watch the clip.
In the first campaign where Hillary Clinton was about 4 states too early, and she was talking about how bad coal was and how that they were going to teach coal miners how to make widgets and gadgets and technology, which they didn't want to do. They want to mine. One thing I learned about the coal miners, that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and a different kind of a job, and they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do.
Who doesn't like a little bit of black lung? I mean, seriously? Okay. Being a coal mine, I mean, I don't know this because I've never had the misfortune of having to work in a coal mine. And I say misfortune purposefully because I'm not denigrating coal miners at all. It is brutal, backbreaking, extraordinarily dangerous, and very unhealthy work. Coal miners get treated badly by the people who own coal mines. I'm pretty sure that if a case were made that could give them safe, interesting, valuable jobs that don't require them to break their bodies for us, they might take us up on that offer. But no, Donald knows. He knows that they want to keep doing this backbreaking labor forever. Because what else could they possibly want from life? And he knows about coal. He hates wind and any renewable energies. Why? Because, like that old 80s song, I mean, he's also trapped in the 1980s, in addition to being trapped in the 1860s. Coal is simply indestructible. Like, seriously. Take a look.
Pound for pound, coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy. It's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible. You could drop a bomb on it, and it's going to be there for you to use the next day.
No. I mean, what kind of bomb? I think he's confusing coal with what happens to coal when it's exposed to massive amounts of pressure and it becomes compressed in a way that its molecular structure changes and it becomes diamonds. Maybe that's what he's talking about, but do we really know? Donald, you need new material. You're an idiot. All right, let's get back. Speaking of idiocy, let's get back to his executive orders. And this is important. I mean, I know this is our mission here is to troll him, but every once in a while, we do have to take a step back and recognize that there are some serious things going on. And Donald, as stupid and moronic and incapable and incompetent as he is, does have a lot of very heavy things on his plate that concern him and take up a lot of his time. He has more than just tariffs and the world energy problems on his mind. And we know this because he signed a very important executive order, in which he promised the American people that he was directly going to take on Joe Biden's, again, sorry, serious. I just want to gather myself. War on showers. Yes. He spent his time and wasted hours citing an order to deregulate shower heads and water pressure on household appliances. Like things that require water pressure, like dishwashers. Here's Transportation Secretary utterly demeaning himself, Sean Duffy. That should kind of go without saying. It's like his full-time job. He just moonlights as Transportation Secretary. Thanking Donald for these common sense efforts. Take a look.
But the president's talking about shower heads. You don't have enough water that can come through your shower head because of Biden's regulations. And so again, fixing small things like that, hopefully it's going to get to dishwashers. Wouldn't it be great if dishwashers worked again, where you don't have to wash your dishes first and then put them in the dishwasher to actually get a little heat on them? I mean, common sense stuff he's doing.
Is that common sense? I mean, even the Newsmax guy didn't know what to do with his face. So I'm sorry. If you lose the Newsmax guy, you're losing because you're losers. So again, Donald has his fingers on the pulse of what really matters to Americans. Is it high prices? No, no. Is it the fact that the entire Western alliance is being destroyed by a really cranky toddler? No, no. It's the water pressure coming out of shower heads, which I have to be completely honest with you, is something that I've maybe thought about twice in my entire life when I was, I don't know, staying at a place that didn't have good water pressure. I don't, who obsesses about such things? Donald Trump does. So if you're wondering if this matters, the truth of the matter is, yeah, because when he's not doing wildly destructive things to our country, he's spending the rest of the time either ripping us off, playing golf, or wasting massive amounts of time on bullshit like shower heads and water pressure. And that should offend you as it offends me. But I guess we do have to be grateful for the fact that we will never run out of material here at Trump Trolls Trump. So thanks for joining me. It was great to be with you again for week 11. Hang on to your hats because I'm pretty sure week 12 is up next. See you guys later.